Hello students, today I'll be dealing with provisions relating to clubbing of income. First we will see what is meant by clubbing of income. Then we will look into the circumstances under which the income is clubbed. As you know, an individual assessee is liable to pay tax on his income if it exceeds the exemption limit. What is the exemption limit? Presently, it is 2.5 lakhs for the individual. So, if an assessee's income exceeds 2.5 lakhs, he has to pay tax on the income exceeding 2.5 lakhs. Generally, every individual who is an assessee under the Income Tax Act has to pay tax on his own income. I repeat, tax on his own income. But there are circumstances under which income belonging to other persons will be taxable at the hands of the assessee. Clubbing of income in simple words means income of other persons will be clubbed with the income of the assessee and thereby he has to pay tax on the same. In other words, when an assessee becomes liable to pay tax on income which belongs to another person, it is known as clubbing of income. Section 60 to 64 of the Income Tax Act 1961 deals with the provisions relating to clubbing of income. Now we will move on to the circumstances or cases in which income of other persons are included in the income of the assessee. First we will look at section 60. Section 60 deals with transfer of income without transferring the asset. Section 60 says that if an assessee transfers income from his asset to any person under a settlement, trust, covenant, agreement or arrangement without transferring the asset, income from such asset will be taxed at the hands of the assessee himself. Next is revocable transfer of asset. Section 61 of the Income Tax Act deals with clubbing of income in the event of revocable transfers. Revocable transfer is a transfer which is revocable during the lifetime of the beneficiary or transferee. It also includes a transfer which contains any provisions to retransfer the asset to the transferor directly or indirectly, wholly or partly. Section 61 says that if an asset is transferred under a revocable transfer, income from such asset is taxable in the hands of the transferor. Next instance is remuneration of spouse. Section 64 clause 1 subclause 3 deals with remuneration arising to spouse from a concern in which assessee has substantial interest. Substantial interest means 20% voting right in the concern. Suppose an individual has substantial interest in a concern and his or her spouse is employed in the concern without any technical or professional knowledge or experience. In that case, salary income of the spouse will be taxable in the hands of the individual taxpayer. When both husband and wife are having substantial interest in a concern and both are employed in the concern without technical or professional qualification, remuneration will be included in the total income of the husband or wife whose total income excluding such remuneration is greater. Next is income of spouse from a firm. Income can be by way of salary, fees, commission or any other remuneration in the form of cash or in kind. Income arising to the spouse directly or indirectly from a firm in which the assessee is a partner is taxable in the hands of the assessee. If the firm is engaged in a professional activity, the income of one of the spouse will not be taxed at the hands of the other. Next is income from assets transferred to spouse. Section 64 clause 1 subclause 4 deals with income from assets transferred to spouse. Section 64 clause 1 subclause 4 says that if an asset other than house property is transferred by an individual to his or her spouse otherwise than for adequate consideration, any income from such asset will be deemed to be the income of the transferor. Adequate consideration here under section 64 means consideration in monetary terms. Natural love and affection is not an adequate consideration for the purpose of this section. The income will not be clubbed with the income of the transferor if the transfer happened due to an agreement to live apart or the assets were transferred before marriage. Let us continue with other instances under which income will be clubbed. Income from asset transferred to a person for the benefit of spouse. By virtue section 64 clause 1 subclause 7, if an asset is transferred by an individual to a third person without adequate consideration for the benefit of his or spouse, the income arising from such asset will be included in the total income of the transferor. For example, A transfers his house property to B with a condition that income from the house property should be used for the benefit of his wife. In this case, income from the house property would be clubbed with the income of A. Next is section 64 clause 1 subclause 6 deals with income from assets transferred to son's wife. Similar to the above discussed provision, if an individual transfers his assets without adequate consideration to his son's wife, income arising from such asset will be included in the total income of the transferor. Again, if an asset is transferred for the benefit of son's wife to a third person without adequate consideration, income will be taxable in the hands of the transferor. Next, we will discuss income of minor child from a firm. As you know, a minor may be admitted to the benefits of partnership. The income of a minor child arising from admission to the benefits of partnership is included in the income of the parent whose total income before such clubbing is greater, even if the parent is not a partner in that firm. Next instance is income from assets transferred to minor child. If an individual transfers his asset to his or her minor child without adequate consideration, any income arising from such asset will be included in the income of the transferor. As I said earlier, natural love and affection is not considered as an adequate consideration. Child here means legitimate child, also includes adopted child. All income which arises or accrues to the minor child, not being a child suffering from any disability of the nature specified in section 80U, shall be clubbed in the income of his parent whose total income is greater. Where the marriage of the parents does not subsist, the income of the minor will be included in the income of that parent who maintains the minor child in the relevant previous year. But certain income of the minor child will not be clubbed with the income of the parent. 1. Clubbing provisions will not apply if the minor is earning any income on account of his manual work. Again, on account of any activity involving application of his skill, talent or specialized knowledge and experience, if the minor is making any income, in that case also income of the minor will not be clubbed. Finally, conversion of self-acquired property. If a member of a joint family has converted his self-acquired property into a joint family property by throwing such property into the common stock of the family, income from such converted property will be taxable at the hands of the transferor himself. For example, if A throws his property to the common stock of his joint family comprising of A, B, C and D, the income from that property will be taxable at the hands of A. Consequent to partition, if the transferred property is subsequently transferred to the members of the joint family, income derived by the spouse of the transferor will be clubbed with the income of the transferor. Going back to the previous example, the property is transferred among the members, the income from the share of Mrs. A will be clubbed with the income of Mr. A. In case if A is having any minor child, income of such minor child out of the converter property will also be clubbed with the income of A. These are the cases or circumstances under which an assessee becomes liable to pay tax on the income which legally belongs to other persons. Hope now you got a clear idea about the clubbing provisions under the Income Tax Act 1961. Thank you.